Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make a lot of cake and cookie decorating tutorials as well as give a lot of baking business tips. And this is part 3 in my buttercream series, and today we're going to be talking all about Swiss meringue buttercream. And in this series, all of the videos are set up the exact same way so you can decide very quickly and easily whether this buttercream is the right one for your project. So let's kick this off with the use and pros and cons of Swiss meringue buttercream. So for use, you can use this for so many things. I really like to use it on cakes, cupcakes, and macarons. They work really well for whatever buttercream project you're doing. The only thing that I wouldn't use this for in terms of cake decorating is something like buttercream stenciling. It's not that you can't make this work, but I just find because this particular buttercream does not form a crust, it makes it a little bit more challenging, and there's other buttercreams that are better suited for that. In terms of the pros of this buttercream, it's no secret that a lot of pastry chefs opt for this buttercream specifically when decorating cakes smoothly with buttercream because it creates a really nice, smooth, silky texture. The cons, however, are that it's a little bit more expensive to make because there is a high butter content in it, and you're also going to be using fresh eggs. The mixture also needs to be heated on the stove, which takes a little bit more care. You need to be standing right there with it, and it takes a little bit more experience. Now let's talk about the taste of this buttercream, which for many, this is the most important part. It is incredibly smooth, and when you do this right and you dissolve the sugar, it has this really great bright note to it as well. I also personally like the fact that this particular buttercream really highlights good quality vanilla. So this is the time to use your vanilla bean paste or your vanilla bean pods or just a really good pure vanilla extract because it's going to make everything taste like vanilla ice cream and like the best vanilla ice cream you've ever had. And because this particular buttercream is lighter in sweetness, you can really pair it with a lot of different things. Compotes, caramels, whatever you can think of. That's why I love it, because it's so versatile and it really melds well with whatever other flavors that you want to pair it with. Now let's talk about the performance of this buttercream. For me personally, as a cake decorator, I'm really looking for hold, and I want a lot of it. What's nice about this buttercream is that it holds up really well in several temperatures. Now that being said, you can't place this directly in the sun and expect it not to melt a little bit, but it does have a lot of stabilization in there, so it holds up pretty well to moderate to slightly warmer temperatures. I've left cakes out in the heat under a tent with Swiss meringue buttercream on them, and they will still last. Now, I made faux Swiss meringue buttercream in another video. It's very, very similar to this, but one of the big differences that I do note is when I'm making this rose here, you can see how the top is a little bit jagged. This happens because a lot of air is being incorporated, so it's a little bit of air bubble stuff going on, creating that jagged effect. If you don't want that, you really have to mix the mixture really low and slow. Now, with the faux Swiss, you don't have to bother with the low and slow. It just is very, very smooth. Now, hopefully, if you've decided this is the buttercream for you to try, let's get into the method. And once again, this is not a recipe video. This is more of an exploration of me showing you the pros and cons and everything else about this buttercream. So I've referenced another recipe down in the description box below. So first off, what you're going to start off with is you're going to have your egg whites and your sugar. And yes, do not pour your sugar in this way because it's very risky. If you pour too much, then you're going to have to dump it all out. So don't be risky like me. Measure it out in another bowl. I think if I tried to do this with my electric stove, it would take a whole lot longer. So if you have the option, work on a gas stove, but if you don't, just know that it will take you a little bit longer. So this is one of the main reasons why I usually go with Italian meringue buttercream instead of Swiss meringue buttercream. Now, both of them still yield slightly different results, but I find they're fairly similar. The reason I choose Italian meringue buttercream, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know that this is my favorite buttercream. It is because the way that the sugar and the water have to come together comes a lot more quickly together, I find, than getting the sugar to dissolve in these egg whites. And I did get a little impatient here. Now, I am putting it in this bowl because obviously I'm going to take this bowl and then I'm going to put it directly onto my stand mixer. But because of the way that this bowl is and the pot that I have, everything isn't heating as evenly and as quickly as I would like it. So I think if I were to do this again, I would put it in a different bowl and then transfer. But for me, I hate using multiple dishes. So I just kept it in there. But because of that, everything didn't dissolve as much as it should have. Now you can get a thermometer to check if the egg and sugar mixture is ready, but really the best measure is with your eyes. You can see when sugar is fully dissolved. Once it is fully dissolved, then what you're going to do is you're going to take it to your stand mixer and you're going to whip it for a very long time. An exceptionally long time, actually. Now, the beauty of this is you don't need perfect meringue. I've done this lots of times. You really just want to make sure that it's opaque and white and that it has some hold to it. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to change your attachment from the whisk attachment to your paddle attachment, and you're going to put some butter in here. Now, this is not to say that you are unable to make Swiss meringue buttercream if you don't have a stand mixer, but do be aware that if you're using a handheld, you're going to be there for a while. This particular video is not a sponsored video, but shout out to the Cookie Countess for sending me this wonderful piping tip organizer. I'm so happy that when I'm making tutorials for you guys, I can just easily grab whatever tip that I need and go on my merry way. So once your buttercream comes together, you're going to be able to use it right away. Nothing else needs to happen. Just make sure that you whip it sufficiently so that all of that butter is fully incorporated. And of course, you want to be using room temperature butter, or else you're going to have to do another step. Which brings me to troubleshooting and storage. So with Swiss meringue buttercream, probably one of the things that you're going to run into is that you're going to notice it looks a little bit curdly like that. If that happens, you just need to place it onto the stove with a little pot of boiling water. Just heat that butter a little bit. It's happening because your butter's too cold, and then just keep whipping. Or you may face the opposite problem where things are a little bit too soupy. If they're too soupy, that means that your butter was added in when things were too warm and now your butter is way past room temperature. Then you need to put it in the fridge for it to solidify up a little bit. But of course, it's always that delicate balance between making sure it's not too cold so that it goes curdly and making sure that it's not too warm. In my experience though, too cold is a lot more easy to fix because it's quicker than when it's too warm. So I'm going to store this in the fridge, and the reason that I'm storing it this particular way is because I know that I'm going to put it back on the double boiler in order for it to avoid any curdling, because it's going to come straight from the fridge. I'm not going to let it thaw, and then I'm just going to re-whip with a hand mixer. Let me know down in the comments below, guys, how are you enjoying this buttercream series? Am I including all of the information that you're looking for, or is there any other type of buttercream that you want to know about that you want to make sure that I'm for sure going to cover? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!